Hello boys and girls, my name is Danny Mac, and if you're new to this series, I basically sculpt a new piece every week and sell the footage and models on Gumroad. However, this week I'm tweaking the rules just a bit, meaning there's no Gumroad footage. So rather than creating a new character every week, the goal now is to create a new image and accompanying time-lapse. So what this means is that I can now continue working on this character, as I intend to do, but make it into a full body character. Because making a full body character in 1 week is just too insane. In fact, 2 weeks could be a struggle, but we'll see how it goes. Now if this is the first time you've seen a video in this series, just to quickly explain the timer in the left hand corner. When this real-time footage eventually gets packaged up and uploaded to Gumroad, in this package you'll find a long, usually about an hour, raw unedited time-lapse. And the idea is that you watch or skim through the time-lapse, and when you see something you want to watch in more detail, you know where to find it in the real-time footage by checking the time code. I'll link my Gumroad in the description below in case you fancy checking out any of the previous episodes, but like I said, this episode will be uploaded next week once the whole character is done. Now, exciting news for riggers. If you're a rigger and you can prove to me that you're a rigger by sending me some sort of demonstration of your work, then I will happily provide this model to you for free. The conditions of this include, number 1, like I said, you have to prove to me that you're a rigger, so unfortunately this means this can't be the first thing you've ever rigged. This is just a safety precaution in an attempt to avoid people taking advantage of this offer. Condition number 2, you cannot share the model, obviously. 3, the model cannot be used for commercial purposes, and 4, please give appropriate credit and link back to this video if you post it anywhere. Now this idea is just being tested for this model, and I'm only giving out 5 copies this time. So the first 5 riggers that satisfy the criteria will get the models. Just email me at dan@danny-mac.com and we'll take it from there. Now let's talk a bit about this model. First, sorry, no, I didn't create Bowser as requested in last week's video. Now, I don't want you guys to think I'm ignoring your ideas. I'm not, so please do keep them coming. The reason I didn't sculpt Bowser is because it was just a fad, and I tend not to jump on board these. I mean, I've nothing against anyone who does. I've really enjoyed seeing them in my social media feeds. But like I said, please don't let this deter you from making more suggestions. I promise I'm listening to them. So you're probably now wondering, who the hell is this then? Well, I really couldn't make up my mind who I wanted to sculpt, and I was kind of running out of time because obviously it's such a short deadline. So I figured I would just start and figure it out as I went, and yeah, this proved to be a futile idea. I ended up completely changing directions several times, and I've left this in the time-lapse so you can see what I mean. I actually ended up regretting not jumping on the Bowser bandwagon, if I'm honest, since I just had no direction throughout really, so I've certainly learned my lesson about having an idea beforehand. So essentially what you're watching is just a doodle. A plain old, albeit heavily rendered, doodle. Okay, so I'm going to try and answer some more of last week's Instagram questions. If you want to follow me on Instagram, by the way, it's Danny_Mac3D. Where somebody asked, did you take classes to learn 3D or are you self-taught? Well, I did go to university here in the UK, but I would have to say that 99% of what I've learned has come from content online or through experimentation. Now that's not to say I have anything against going to school or that I regret going, because I don't. Uni is much more than just learning things. Moving to a new city and meeting people from all over the country and world gives you a broader perspective which you don't get from sitting in your bedroom listening to Andrew Kramer in your pants. Not that that's what I was doing circa 2010. However, what prompted me to go to university at this time was that tuition fees were about to jump from £3 a year to £9 a year, so I figured it was now or never. Would I suggest going to school now with such high fees? I'm not sure. It's a tricky one because you certainly could get to a high level without it. And I realise I've slightly drifted from the original question yet again, but I think this is a common topic of consideration, so I'll keep going. What you need to consider is, will you put the time and effort required to get to a high level without being pushed along by tutors and friends? And how much do you value meeting other people at a similar level and with similar goals? Whatever you decide to do, just don't get yourself or some girl pregnant in the first couple of months. That's what I did, and it just makes the rest of it a tad more difficult. Now I've really drifted from the question. Moving on. What's your favourite thing to sculpt? I mean, really? I keep getting this question and it surprises me every time. I don't get asked this nearly as much as why do I only sculpt girls though, which I should probably answer now, but I'm not entirely sure I know the answer. Now here's a question I've been getting a lot lately, and it's where is the Le Crochet app I use in some of my videos. Now if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the app that I sometimes have up on screen with simplified anatomy that lets you single out certain areas of the body and move them in 3D, and it makes for a very useful referencing tool. However, it would appear that it's now been completely pulled from the Google Play Store. I mean, it's still sitting there all nice and bonny in the Apple App Store, but it's nowhere to be seen on Android. So to answer the question, I've no idea where it's gone, and I'm gutted about it because I just built a new PC and I've lost my copy of it in the process, so I now have no way of accessing it. If there's somebody out there who has this app on their computer who also happens to know how to package it up into an APK and send it to me, then please, dear God, do it. I miss that app so much. Alternatively, if you happen to be close with Mike DeFeo, the guy who made it, could you please ask him what has happened to it and if it will be coming back? I'm really gutted it's gone. Also, if he says no it's not coming back, tell him he owes me a £5. Ooh, one thing that I forgot to mention when I was talking about tweaking the rules of this weekly sculpt is that I think that every now and again, maybe once a month, I'm going to use a base mesh. Now I haven't explicitly said that I won't use them, but in my head I have denied myself because I like sculpting from scratch to keep my skills pushing forward. However, like I've said, these deadlines I've set myself are intense, and what I find myself doing is rushing through some seriously dirty UVs and textures to get myself to rendering. So what using a base mesh is going to allow me to do is spend a little more time honing these skills rather than focusing all my time on the sculpt. Anyway, if you see me using a base mesh and are like, oi, that's cheating, well, now you know why. The reason I'm mentioning these rules, by the way, is because once I've got it figured out, I'm thinking about turning it into a weekly challenge in which you guys can join in if you so desire, and maybe showcasing some of the best in a YouTube video, so let me know if this sounds like a good idea. Anyway, I'm liking leaving a bit of time for some music at the end of these time lapses, so that's what I'm going to do now. Sorry I didn't get to do more Instagram questions, I got so many through last week and I will try and get into them all. Well, most of them, not the silly ones, such as the one that my girlfriend responded with, but I'll not go into that here. Don't forget the footage will be up on Gumroad next week, but follow the link below if you want to check out any of the previous episodes. See you next week.